ॐ ॐ ॐ ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरिः ॐ श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ॐ ॐ सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम् समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरं ॐ श्री चिन्मय सद्गुरवे नमः। ॐ श्रीमात्रे नमः। ॐ हरि ओम. So welcome to the second evening of Sthita Prajna Lakshanam, the second chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, in the views of Bhagwan Sri Shankaracharya. So this yesterday we saw the question was asked by Arjuna. Arjuna asked the question, what are the qualities of the one who has sthita prajna, steady mind, steady intellect, unwavering intellect, where there are no desires? What is the quality of that person? And Bhagavan Shri Krishna replies, Shri Bhagavanu Vacha Prajahati Yada Kaman Sarvan Parthamanogataan Atmanyevatmana Tushtaha Sthita Prajnastadochyate. Bhagavan Shri Krishna says, Prajahati, the one who gives up, Yada Kaman, Sarvan Kaman, Sarvan Manogatan Kaman, all the different desires of the mind, the one who gives up, Prajahati Yada Kaman, Sarvan Partha Manogatan, Atmanieva Atmana Tushtaha, the one who resides in the self, in consciousness, as consciousness, Tushtaha, the one who is content by the knowledge that he is consciousness and consciousness alone is present in him, and by himself he realizes that sthita prajnaha tat uchyate. Such a person is called a sthita prajna, because in consciousness there is no wavering, there is no disturbance in consciousness, there is no coming and going, there is no wave motion, there is no wave action. It is just pure ocean of energy, consciousness, very steady, very stable. There are no disturbances in consciousness. So Atmanyeva Atmana Tushtaha, such a person is called a Sthita Prajna. So we will see what Bhagavan Sri Shankaracharya has got to say about this. Prajahati Prakarshena Jahati Parityajati Yada Yasmin Kale Sarvan Samastan Kaman Ichha Bhedan. So the one person who gives up all desires, Prakarshena, very clearly gives them up. Desires are patterns of energy in us which have become habits. So we have that pattern, we seek that object, we make effort to get that object, we get the object, we experience the results are imprinted in the mind, and again the seeking and the action, the results, and the experiences get imprinted deeply. So the one who gives up these patterns, prajahati yada kaman, at that time, he partha, manogatan, manasi pravishtan. These desires, however they come, it is not originating from within. It is not originating from the source. It is coming to us through the sense organs from the world, the organs, sense organs of perception, and expressed by the sense organs of action. Hridi pravishtan. Sarva kama parityagaha tushtikarana abhavat sharira dharana nimitta sheshecha sati unmatta pramattasya pravrittihi prapta iti ata uchyate. Suppose the person will behave like a mad person because he has given up all desires, and then uh, whatever the results are there, if he is going to give up all the desires, there will be no reason for joy, there will be no reason for contentment, and sharira dharana hetutvena prarabdha, there is no prarabdha also. Will that person express in this world like as if he's a mad person? No. Atmani eva pratyagatma swarupe eva atmana svena eva bahya labha nirapekshaha tushtaha. So what is this kind of contentment called? Bahya labha nirapekshaha. The person is not that he is giving up all actions. He is doing actions, but he is not expecting any results from outside to make him happy, to make him content. He is not doing something to be happy. He is not doing something to be blissful. He is not doing something to be calm, quiet, or harmonious, or content. Paramartha darshana amrita rasa labhena anyasmat alam pratyayavan sthita prajnaha. A sthita prajna is a person who has got alam pratyaya. Alam means enough. So the when you see the psychology behind people who accumulate things in their life, people who accumulate situations and persons, human beings in their life, why do they do it? They have two problems. Basically, the basic thought patterns are: I am not enough, I do not have enough. So this alam pratyaya means I am enough and I have enough. So that is a sthita prajna. I am enough. Everything is here with me. Then whatever I have, I am content with that. He is a sthita prajna. Sthita pratishtita atma anatma vivekaja prajna. So what is a sthita prajna? That person's intellect is established in the knowledge of who I am and what I am not. I am not the body, mind, and intellect. I am not this world. I am not this world of movement, name, and form, but I am that consciousness that is ever present in all three periods of time. Sthita prajna, vidwan, tada uchyate. That person is called a vidwan. Vidwan means the one who knows. Tyakta putra vitta lokaishanaha sannyasi atma rama atma kridaha sthita prajnaha ityartaha. The person has given up these three desires: putreshana, vitteshana, lokeshana. So what is putreshana? I want to accumulate children. That is happening in nowadays. We are talking of lesser and lesser children or no children. But in those days, having children was a big desire that people used to express and also gather around themselves. The three main desires: putra ishana, wanting children or wanting students or wanting lots of people around us, basically praja, people who are all surrounding us. Vitteshana, surrounded by wealth, surrounded by lots of material movable and immovable properties. Vitteshana. Lokeshana, wanting to have experiences in this world, wanting situations in this world, wanting situationships, wanting relationships. This is lokeshana, vitteshana, putreshana. So this sannyasi, the one who has completely given up, has given up these three desires, and he is content. Atma Rama, Atma Kridaha. He is Atma Rama. He is reveling in consciousness alone. Atma Krida. Whom does he play with? He plays with himself. Meaning, he is just a constant observer of life around, without any comments, without any criticism, without any wanting something to be different, without any manipulation, without any adjustment. He is just playing in the field of life as things come and go. So that is a sthita prajna. He is not wanting to do something, he is not wanting to change something, he is not wanting to acquire something, he is not wanting to give up something. Nothing is there. No specific desires are there. He just takes life as it comes by. So that person is called a sthita prajna. Sthita means steady. Prajna means prakarshena jna. The knowledge is in that person is steady. I know something. That knowledge cannot be shaky. It should not be shaky. Then it is not right knowledge. Right knowledge happens when that knowledge is not shaky, when the thought is not shaky. So that person is called a sthita prajna. For it not to be shaky, we should be established in the truth. Only then the ultimate lack of shakiness will be there. Otherwise, how much ever we try to control the thought, how much ever we try to control the situations and manipulate our relationships, manipulate the results of our action, we will not ultimately have a unshaken mind, because some agitation or the other will be coming. So the final lack of shake in the mind happens only when the person is established in the truth, in the self. So what are some other qualities of this person? Dukkheshvanugvigna manaha, Sukeshu vigata spruhaha, Vitaraga bhaya krodhaha, Sthitadhir muniruchyate. Dukkheshu. That person might be having sorrow. Anudvigna manaha. His mind is not having any udvigna. His mind is not agitated in times of sorrow. When he is joyful, when he is enjoying something, Sukheshu vigata spruhaha. There is no attachment to that object of pleasure. Some object may be giving pleasure, object of the sense may be giving pleasure, but the person is not attached to that object or wanting it, clinging to it, begging for it, asking it to stay, never wanting it to leave. All that is not there. Sukheshu vigata spruhaha. Such a person, he does not have three things. What are they? Vita, raga, bhaya, krodaha. He does not have any attachment. He does not have any clinging to things. He does not have any specific likes and dislikes. Raga. Raga means ranjanatmakam ragaha. Something that the mind revels in and it wants and clings to it and gets attached to it is raga. He does not have raga. Vita means he's not there. Bhaya, because he is not attached to anything, because he does not push away anything, there is no fear of something that we like going away from us, or there is no fear that something that we don't like coming to us and staying with us. So there is no fear in this person because there is no duality. He sees himself as a one consciousness, and since there is only consciousness in this person, there is only he sees consciousness in everybody and in every object. There is no duality, and hence there is no fear. And when there is no desire, there is no fear. The third thing also does not have a place. What is the third? Krodhaha. Krodha means anger. There is no anger also. Anger comes when we desire for something and that desire is obstructed by somebody or some situation. Then we get the course of the desire, which is soft. The emotion of the desire, which is soft, becomes like an estuary. It is flowing like a delta. Desire flows like a delta, but anger becomes very tight, like an estuary. It flows into the ocean. In the same way, krodha, the person's mind flows like a stormy estuary of a river. Krodhaha sthitadhihi muniruchyate. Such a person who does not have attachment, likes and dislikes, he does not have fear or he does not have anger, and his mind is not upset in times of sorrow, nor is his mind clinging to the objects of pleasure. Such a person is called Munihi. Manana Shilavan iti Munihi. The one who is constantly contemplating in silence. Munehe bhavam maunam. The one who is a Muni is in a silent state of mind. There are no agitating thoughts in that person's mind. So he is called a Muni. And that Muni is a Sthita Prajna, the one of steady intellect. Bhagavan Adisankaracharya says, Dukkheshu adhyatmikadishu prapteshu na udvignam na prakshubhitam dukkha praptau mano yasya saha ayam anudvigna manaha. Since a person has got the knowledge of who I am or what is the self, so that person, he knows who I am. So whatever is coming just comes and it will go away. So there is no need to identify with that and get disturbed with that. They just watch things flow by as the person stands on the banks of the river and watches the water flow past. Ayam anudvigna manaha. That is called anudvigna manaha. The mind that is not agitated. Tatha sukheshu prapteshu vigata spriha trishna yasya na agnihi iva indanadyadhane sukhani anuvivardate sa vigata spriha. So the person is called a vigata spriha. Spriha means attachment. Vigata means no attachment. A person without attachment is whatever objects of senses, pleasures are coming from the objects of senses, he is not stoking those senses like how you stoke fire with firewood and the fire burns bright. In that manner, this person is not stoking the senses with more and more desires, seeking objects of pleasure. So he is called a Vigata Sprihaha. Vita Raga Bhaya Krodhaha. Ragaha cha bhayam cha krodhaha cha vita vigata, the one who does not have the three. Yasmat savitaraga bhaya krodhaha sthitadihi sthita prajnaha munihi sannyasi tada uchyate. The person is called a sannyasi. Samyak nyas, the one who has given up everything, given up all the patterns of anger, hatred, jealousy, fear, attachment, and all these qualities are given up. So sannyasi. Sthitadihi. That sannyasi is called a sthitadihi, the one of steady intellect. Kimcha, more so, in the next 57th verse, how does he behave with everybody? Yas sarvatra nabhisneha tat prapya shubha shubham Nabhinandati nadveshti tasya prajna pratisthita. Yes, sarvatra anabhisneha. It is not that this person is shutting himself and sitting inside the room or sitting in a cave and not interacting with the world. He goes around the world. He goes around wherever his legs take him or the body takes him. He does travel. But wherever he goes, anabhisneha. He is not identified. He is not attached to any object. He is not attached to any person. He is not attached to any situation. Anabhisneha. And then what happens to him? Tattat prapya shubha ashubham na abhinandati na dveshti. Whenever something auspicious comes to him or whenever something inauspicious comes to him, he does not get excited by it, nor does he hate it. Na abhinandati, na dveshti. Such a person's prajna, such a person's intellect is pratisthita. It is very well rooted in the truth, rooted in that source, rooted in that consciousness, reality. Yaha munihi sarvatra deha jivatadishu api Anabhisnehaha, abhisneha varjitaha, tat tat prapya shubha ashubham, tat tat shubham ashubham va, labdva, na abhinandati, na dveshti, shubham prapya na tushyati, na hrishyati, ashubham cha prapya na dveshti. When he gets something auspicious, he is not excited or exhilarated. When he gets something inauspicious, he is not down in the dumps. Such a person is called a sthita prajna. Tasya evam harsha vishada varjitasya vivekaja prajna pratishtita bhavati. So such a person, harsha vishada varjitasya. So how is his intellect? His intellect is vivekaja, born out of discrimination between who am I and what is not I. In the Patanjali Yoga Sutra, many forms of meditation are given in the 3rd chapter. And finally, what is the phalashruti, or what is the result of the practice of these meditations and Ashtanga Yoga and Samadhi, is that person gets vivekajam jnanam. Kshana tat kramayoho samyamat vivekajam jnanam. That is the last samyama. So once you get this vivekajam jnanam, kshana means this moment, you don't see the actions, you don't see the people, you don't see the situations, you don't see the emotions, you don't see the thoughts, but you just keep focusing on this moment, next moment, next moment, next moment, next moment, next moment. There is no change between one moment and the rest. But the moment we start focusing on the actions, thoughts, feelings, emotions, the situations, the people around us, what they speak, what they say, what happens to us, what we do to others, how we feel, all these things, that moment is that screen upon which this movie is going on all the time. When we take our attention from the movie and place it on the screen, nothing that happens in the movie will affect us. Tasya prajna pratishtita. Such a person is a sthita prajna who has his mind in the present moment, because his knowledge is born out of viveka. Viveka means discrimination between who am I and what is not I, realizing the self and abiding in the self and giving up everything that is not the self. Tasya prajna pratishtita. And one more example is given. Kimcha yada samharate chayam kurmongani vasarvashah indriyanindriyarthebhyah tasya prajna pratishtita yada samharate cha ayam kurmaha angani iva sarvashah. Kurma is tortoise. What does a tortoise do? Its head is sticking out, its 4 limbs are sticking out of the shell. But when there is a sign of danger, the tortoise shrinks its head inside and draws its 4 limbs inside the shell. In the same way, Sarvashaha, in all manners, in all ways possible, Indriyani, Indriya Arthebhyaha. This Sthita Prajna, the one who has a steady intellect, he withdraws his sense organs from the sense objects. So, what are the sense organs and what are the sense objects? There are 10 sense organs, 5 sense organs of perception, 5 sense organs of action. What are the 5 sense organs of perception? The sense of seeing, hearing, tasting, smelling, touching. The sense of seeing, the object is form. The sense of hearing, the object is sound. The sense of smelling, the object is fragrance or lack of or not fragrant. The sense of taste, the object is some kind of a shut out of the 6 tastes, 6 rasas of tikta, katu, amla, sharkara, sugary taste. Then you have bitter taste, you have pungent taste. All these tastes are there, so that they are the objects for the sense of taste. And then for the sense of touch, you have shita, ushna. you have cold and heat, and you have good touch, bad touch. You have comfortable touch and uncomfortable touch. These different types are there in terms of touch, in terms of skin. These are the objects of the sense organ of skin. And then you have the 5 sense organs of action. The 5 sense organs of action are the mouth, hands, legs, the organ of reproduction, and the organ of excretion. The object of the mouth is talking, the object of the hands is grasping, the object of the leg is walking, the object of the reproductory organ is reproducing, and the object of the excretory organ is to excrete. So these are the objects, sense objects, and the sense organs. Kurma angani va sarvashaha indriyani indriyarthebhyaha. So this person, this Sthita Prajna, withdraws the senses, sense organs from the sense objects by many processes, by practice of pranayama, by practice of, we cannot wing it and we cannot wish it to happen. It requires a dedicated practice to withdraw the sense organs from the sense objects. Indriyani indriyarthebhyaha yada samharate tasya prajna pratisthita. Such a person's intellect is very steadily established in the source, in the truth. Yada samharate samyak upasamharate cha ayam jnana nishtayam pravruttaha yatihi kurmaha angani vacha sarvashaha yatha kurmaha bhayat khani swani angani upasamharati sarvata evam jnana nishtaha indriyani indriyartebhyaha sarva vishayebhyaha upasamharate. Just as the tortoise, out of fear, it withdraws its limbs. In the same way, the jnani, the one who knows that I am consciousness, withdraws the sense organs from the sense objects. Iti ukta artham vakyam. So that's a statement. Tatra vishayan anaharataha aturasya api indriyani nivartante kurma angani va samhriyante natu tad vishayaha ragaha sa katham samhriyate iti uchyate. So now, just like the tortoise draws its limbs, the person will draw his sense organs, but the sense object, the experience of wanting the sense object does not go away. How will it go away? The next verse says, Vishaya vinivartante niraharasya dehinaha rasavarjam rasopyasya param drishtva nivartate. For ordinary people, suppose I like ice cream, and for some 1 hour I just keep a vow that I will not take that ice cream, I will not touch ice cream. So for that 1 hour I will be able to control that sense of taste from going and taking the ice cream. But after that 1 hour goes away, my sense will come back and grab that ice cream and enjoy the ice cream. But what happens to a jnani? Vishaya vinivartante, when he moves away from the object of attraction of the sense organ, niraharasya dehinaha. He is not giving constantly, he is not feeding that sense organ. Dehinaha rasavarjam. So there is no rasa, there is no juice in that sense organ. As long as that sense organ is alive and very juicy, it is going after things of the world. But when the juice has got dried up, rasavarjam, rasaha api, that memory of that taste also is gone. Asya, how does the memory go? Param drishtva nivartate. The memory will not go away if we do not know the truth, if we do not know the reality. The truth, the consciousness, the reality is such a power. It is always there, but it is accessible only when we know of its presence. Like the chocolate can be there in the fridge, but as long as we do not know the presence of the chocolate, it is as good as it is not there. In the same way, the self-consciousness is always there, but until we know about that consciousness, through the Vedanta Vakya, through the words of the Guru, and when we contemplate about it and meditate upon it, until then we do not realize its presence. But once the presence of consciousness is realized, it is such a superpower that all addictions of the sense organs, they're all energy patterns. They're all repetitive patterns of energy. What I love to see, I want to see every day. What I love to smell, I keep smelling every day. What I love to taste, there is a motor going on in every sense organ, which is every day morning, like as if the motor gets switched on, and then the power is generated. It goes and draws the water, and then it distributes the water. In the same way, this motor is switched on when we wake up. When the I thought wakes up, the motor is switched on in the morning, and the sense organs begin their movement towards the sense objects, gathering the experience from the sense objects, mulling over it, relishing it, contemplating about it, and then enjoying it, and the pattern becomes very strong. So if the pattern has to be disrupted, if this pattern has to be diffused, if this pattern has to be become null and void, then that individual should go deep within and meditate upon that consciousness. That consciousness is a powerful source of energy, and that source of energy will just crumble all these patterns to bits, will just burst all these patterns, will dissolve all these patterns, will burn all these patterns, will push away all these patterns. Like when people are doing pranayama, that is the visualization. Many visualizations are there in pranayama, as if there is a wind that is going in, and the wind is developing into a storm, and it is just pushing out all the desires, pushing out all the impurities of mind, impurities in breath, and impurities in the body. These kinds of pranayama are there. So that is what happens in an enlightened being, in a divine personality. All these patterns are no more. The patterns of tasting, seeing, smelling, touching, talking, grasping, holding, fidgeting, always the greatest pattern that we know of today is fidgeting on the computer all the time, fidgeting on the mobile phone all the time, pattern of scrolling, doom scrolling, it is called, going on scrolling on Facebook, Instagram, on YouTube, on WhatsApp, going on pressing the mobile phone. So these are all different types of patterns that we have. We are not even aware of. We don't have a name for it. We don't know its presence. We just keep getting immersed in that pattern, and we make no effort to come out of these patterns. But the one who goes deep into the self, these patterns will be blasted. Rasavarjam, rasaha api yasya. Even that, the fragrance of the juice, the remembrance of that joy that these patterns give is gone in that person, because he has seen something greater inside him. Param drishtva nivartate. He has seen that supreme self. It is like the mother cooks very tasty food for the child at home, and every hour, or on time, every time, morning, afternoon, dinner, lunch, breakfast, in between snacks. There are some parents who do that also. They make the snacks also at home. They bake the biscuits at home. They bake the cakes at home. They make the sweets at home, and they also cook food at home, fresh vegetables and fresh fruits, and very tasty breakfast. There was a doctor, a pediatrician. A mother took the baby to a pediatrician and said, my child is not eating at all properly. So the pediatrician said, I will show many hotels which are serving very tasty food. So which means when the mother or whoever is providing for the child is providing tasty food, the child is, even if they get an opportunity to go about, they are not going to go about and settle for anything on the road. They will always come back home to get their food. So that is called rasavarjam. There is no taste for outside food. In the same way, this Sthita Prajna, who has tasted that self of that consciousness, has got no taste for outside influences, outside experiences of through the sense organs. Param drishtva nivartate. The taste also goes away. When the taste goes away within, then there is nothing that is going to propel this person Nothing that is going to entice this person into going after the sense objects of pleasure. Yadyapi Vishayopala Vishaya विषयोपलक्षितानि विषयशब्दवाच्यानि इन्द्रियाणि अथवा विषया एव निराहारस्य अनाह्रियमाण विषयस्य कष्टे तपसि स्थितस्य मूर्खस्यापि विनिवर्तन्ते देहिनः देहवतः रसवर्ज्यं रसः रागः विषयेषु यः तं वर्जयित्वा. Even for an ordinary person, if they do not go after the sense objects, the senses will withdraw. But rasa shabdaha rage prasiddhaha swarasena pravruttaha rasika rasagnaha ityadi darshanat saha api rasaha ranjana rupaha sukshmaha asya yatehe param paramartha tattvam brahma drishtva upalabhya aham eva tad iti vartamanasya nivartante nirbijam Vishaya Vijnanam Sampadyate Ityartaha. So this sense organ of ego identifies with everything. If there is hunger, it says I am hungry. If there is thirst, it says I am thirsty. If there is love, it says I am loving. If there is hatred, it says I am hateful. I am vengeful. For everything it identifies. And even if somebody tells us something, you are a fool, if somebody says, the problem comes because we identify with that and we begin to say, I am a fool. Or he said, I am a fool. So the identification has come as I am a fool. And then that creates a lot of disturbance in our mind. But here, the I identification has ceased to identify with any sense objects for its pleasure. It is identified with I am Brahman. And so there is no change. There is no modification. There is no need for getting something. There is no need for pushing away something. Whatever agate swagatam kuryat gachantam na nivarayet. When something is coming to you, when somebody is coming to you, when situation is coming to you, some situation is coming to you, welcome that situation. When that situation leaves, when that object leaves, or when that person leaves by force of circumstances, let it go. Gachantam na nivarayet. Don't try to pull it back. So this is the state of a sthita prajna. Because he is not having any rasa within. He is not having any juice which propels him into pulling something towards him or pushing something away from him. Because he is resting in that Brahman. Like the child who is very happy to eat what the mother has cooked at home. In the same way, this person has got the supreme bliss resting in that consciousness, resting in Brahman, that he does not want to take anything. He does not want to go after any pleasure in his life. Na asati samyak darshane rasasya uchchedaha tasmat samyak darshana atmikayaha prajnaya stairyam kartavyam iti abhiprayaha. So, because this kind of a establishment in the truth in the self is not going to happen when the person is not having a clarity of knowledge of who I am. So, the person should be established in that knowledge of the self. That is the effort here. Samyak darshana lakshana prajna stairyam chikirshata adau indriyani svavashe stapayitavyani yasmat tad anavasthapane dosham aha. So if I want clarity of knowledge, it is a very simple thing. Samyak darshanam means like the clarity of vision. If I am driving a car, if the windshield of the car is very clear, then I have a clear vision of the road and I can drive the car steadily on the road. Clear vision is so important in life. It can be so dangerous, it can be so fatal. If the windscreen is having droplets of water and dust on it, it has just started drizzling, and there's dust on it, patches of water are there, I will not see the road clearly, and then the wheels can shake because I do not have the right kind of a vision. I do not have a steady vision. So if What is the problem if our vision is not steady? This verse is very beautiful. Yatato hyapi kaunteya purushasya vipaschitaha indriyani pramathini haranti prasabham manaha yatataha api hi api kaunteya purushasya vipaschitaha. A person might have studied a lot. Knowing is not being. Knowing plus doing and understanding is only being. Yatataha hi api, knowing is not doing, doing is doing. But here the person is also doing, the person is also vipaschit. He also knows the truth from the Shastras, from the Guru. He has heard about consciousness. So he is a vipaschit. And he is also striving towards establishment in that truth, in that consciousness. Api, he api, indeed, even then, Kaunteya, Kunti's putra is Arjuna, the son of Kunti. Why this word is used? Because Kunti is a great master of controlling her senses. How much of trouble she has gone through by taking care of her own children and her other wife of her husband's children, Madri's children, and going to the forest along with the 5 children, then living a life of discomfort without complaining, uh, with a lot of devotion. What kind of a life she led, Kunti. And so such a son of such a mother, Kaunteya, Purushasya, when he even strives, and he is also knowledgeable about, like, you have so many books on habits, controlling habits. Like there is a book called Habit by Charles Duhigg. Then there's another book called Atomic Habits by James Clear, and Micro Habits. There's another book. There are many books. But how much ever we read those books, how much ever we know that there is first agitation, then there is action, then there is reward, and that reward feeds the information. The information causes the agitation causes action, the action leads to reward, and the reward makes a further imprint on the mind. How much ever we know all this, we cannot stop our coffee, we cannot stop our tea, we cannot stop our alcohol, we cannot stop many things that we do just because we have the knowledge. The knowledge alone does not have the power to stop us from our habit. It requires yatnam. Yatnam means effort. But just because we put yatnam also, we will not be overcoming the habit. Something more deeper is required. Indriya, if we are not able to control that habit, indriyani pramathini, these sense organs, which are all pramathi, means they're all very strong, and they can shake up the intellect like anything. But pramathini haranti, it withdraws our consciousness, it withdraws our intellect and lets it go waste into the world, where we cannot draw it back into us. Yatataha prayatnam kurvataha api hi yasmat kaunteya purushasya vipaschitaha medhavinaha api iti vyavahitena sambandhaha indriyani pramathini pramathanashilani. Mathanam means to churn. The sense organs which are not under control can churn the mind and distract the mind completely. Vishaya abhimukam hi purusham vikshobhayati. Kshobhana is to shake, violently shake consciousness, violently shake the thought, violently shake the mind. Akuli kurvanti. It is making making the senses polluted. Akuli kritya cha haranti prasabham prasahya prakasham eva pashyataha viveka vijnana yuktam manaha. Prasabham manaha. Even when the person is constantly aware of who am I and what I am not, even in such a person's mind, ani sarvani samyamya yukta asita matparaha vashehi yasyendriyani tasya prajna pratisthita. So a person whose mind is steady, Tani sarvani samyamya. he just controls, he reins in all the senses. Yukta, he is united all the 5 sense organs of perception and the 5 sense organs of action are reined in by the mind. Asita, that person is established and seated in himself, inside, within the body. What is he doing seated inside? Mat paraha, he is constantly thinking about me. Who am I? That supreme consciousness. Mat paraha. Vashehi yasya indriyani. So, if that person is thinking about me all the time, then his senses are in control. Tasya prajna pratishtita. Such a person's intellect is established in the source, in consciousness. Tani sarvani samyamya samyamanam vashikaranam krutva. Samyama means samyak yamaha. Dharana, dhyana, samadhi. Trayam ekatra samyamaha. Dharana means concentration. Like we can even practice this at home. If we want to quieten the mind, we just, when thoughts are just racing past, we just give some time to observe the thoughts. And then when we start observing the flow of thoughts, the thoughts will become quiet. The thoughts will become smooth. Then you pick up one thought. I have to go for work today. Or I don't know how I'm going to manage. Suppose the thought comes, this situation is coming up today. I don't know how I'm going to manage. So this I don't know how I'm going to manage. You can take up that thought. First you do dharana. Concentration means you look at that thought. It says the thought is saying, conveying the information to me that I don't know how I am going to manage. Split the word. Like when something is very fast on YouTube, you want to really listen to it deeply. What do? You go to the settings and make it very slow motion. You reduce the speed of that talk. In the same way, reduce the speed of this thought. I don't know how I'm going to manage it. Then it will go away. No, catch that thought, place that thought on the screen, spread out all the words, make the words appear as if big in that. When you're doing this work, other thoughts will not come. Just like when you're interviewing some person inside the room, the next person is not going to come. In the same way, when you're engaging with one thought, the next thought cannot come in. So you engage with this thought and you keep your mind concentrated on thought. You can set your alarm on the mobile phone or whatever it is for half an hour to do this exercise. I do not know how I am going to manage this. So you concentrate on that dharana and then you meditate upon it. Ideally, you reframe the sentence. I can handle it. Or I have done it in the past. I will be able to do it today also. And you reframe the sentence and concentrate on it. I am doing it well today because I have the necessary equipment. I have the necessary knowledge. I have the necessary devotion and interest to make it happen. And so it will happen well. So this thought, this work will happen well. You take it up for examination. You concentrate on it. You meditate on that thought, means you be with that thought. You sit with that thought. And finally, your consciousness will enter into that thought. And that thought will become a conscious entity. And that is called samadhi. This is called samyama. Dharana, dhyana, samadhi. Vashehi, where is this samyama word has come here? Tani sarvani samyamya. So this is what samyamanam, or controlling the thought. Yukta asita matparaha. This person is a yukta. He is very integrated, he is very united, and he is asita. He is seated quietly. What is he doing? Matparaha. He is thinking about me. Vashehi yasya indriyani. So in such a person, all the senses are in control. And tasya prajna pratishtita. That person's intellect is completely steady. And tomorrow we will look into these very beautiful 2 verses which come, which speaks about the ladder of fall in our mind. So we will see that tomorrow. Om Sarvesham Swastir Bhavatu, Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu, सर्वेषां पूर्णं भवतु, सर्वेषां मङ्गलं भवतु, सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः, सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः, सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु, मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्। ॐ असतो मा सद्गमय, तमसोर्मा ज्योतिर्गमय, मृत्योर्मा अमृतं गमय। ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। हरिः ॐ श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ॐ। बोलिए श्री सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की जय। हर नमः पार्वती पतये। हर हर महादेव। हरि ओम।